House Republicans are furious with Representative Matt Gaetz after he led the siege to unseat former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
Matt Gaetz is, frankly, a vile person. All right. He's not somebody who's willing to work as a team. He stands up there, he grandstands, he lies directly to folks.
I'm not backing anyone until we deal with the fact that we have people in our conference who could shut this house down on a whim again.
We're not here to accommodate 8 people who just kicked us in the shins really bad. They don't support our party. In a sense, it's all about media clicks.
Gaetz's proverbial coup has angered GOP members so much that they're debating doing away with the motion to vacate rule. Some are intent on changing the rules so that rebel Republicans cannot again join with the Democratic minority to force out a speaker. A group of 45 House Republicans signed on to an open letter last week calling for changes to the rule, writing, "It's our responsibility to identify the right person at this moment to lead us into the future to achieve the conservative policy objectives that we and the American people all share. We cannot allow our majority to be dictated to by the alliance between the Chaos Caucus and the minority party that will do nothing more than guarantee the failure of our next speaker."
Well, the letter continued, "The injustice we all witness cannot go unaddressed lest we bear responsibility for the consequences that follow. Our conference must address fundamental changes to the structure of our majority to ensure success for the American people." The Republican Main Street Caucus put out a statement last week reading, "The ability for one person to vacate the Speaker of the House will keep a chokehold on this body through 2024. Personal politics should never again be used to trump the will of 96% of House conservatives." But others who fought for the rule are defending it. Texas Congressman Chip Roy posted this on X on Friday. "The rule should remain. It's an historic, institutional, and important tool for individual members to exercise their right to represent constituents and not be steamrolled by the establishment. It was a central issue in our fight in January to end the swamp's stranglehold." Yes, of course, the establishment party members want to get rid of this rule and are inconvenienced by Matt Gaetz and others actually attempting to get what their voters want on the docket for the agenda for Congress. That's a bridge too far for many in the establishment, in both parties, frankly. But not at all surprising that, the chaos, it's inconvenient, it's boo-hoo. I mean, you're not there to just sit and go to fancy dinners and smoke cigars. You're there to fight for policies on behalf of your voters. And it's supposed to be messy. It's supposed to be parliamentary. It's supposed to be factions of people getting together on different issues. So look, I'm sorry if you're going to be ignoring what your voters want, and they could not have spoken more clearly on Ukraine funding, on so many other issues. This is the result. Stop taking Republican voters for granted, Republican Party, and you won't end up in this position.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Look, the backstop of this should be that if Matt Gaetz or any other person who wants to pull this lever is genuinely doing so in a way that is perceived by the public as self-interested, as a stunt, etc., well, then they're going to have to pay the price for that at the ballot box. But in fact, Matt Gaetz is very popular in his district. And part of the reason I think that the criticisms from the Republican establishment are not really landing is because they're talking about protecting the party. You heard it in some of the clips we played. What's he doing to the party? I got to protect the party. And Matt Gaetz has been focusing on a number of issues that are enormously popular with the public. So yes, he's going to get inundated with negative media attention. But at the end of the day, it costs him nothing, quite literally, if he's able to maintain his seat in his district, if he can get the people behind him by continuing to talk about issues that are very important and popular among the general public. And I keep coming back to this moment, because I think it's so emblematic of what people didn't understand about the power of these forced vote moments when the left was talking about it back in 2021, and what Republicans are flailing around to trying to grasp right now. In this moment on the House floor where Matt Gaetz calls out corruption and highlights issues that are important to the American public, and his own caucus boos him as a consequence. Let's play that clip again.
When it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have borrowed against the future of our future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans, $10 and $20 and $30 at a time, and you all keep showing up at the lobbyist fundraisers and see how that goes for you. I reserve.
So Congress has what, like a 17% approval rating?
Yeah.
And they're going to sit there and boo him for articulating what the people of this country have been wanting someone to say in that room forever?
Right, and just asserting that he's, a bit of a showboat and he's sending out a fundraising email the second he does this, and yeah, he likes to grandstand, he's on TV a lot. That can all be true. Yes, he's self-interested and self-promoting. Every single member of Congress is like that. Every single political figure is like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique about that. He's doing it a little bit better, but I don't care. I don't think probably like 99.8% of the people in Congress are not people I like personally or would approve of their theatrics and their optics.
Sure.
But what ultimately matters, and what should matter and does matter to the American people, is what they're actually trying to accomplish. And what Matt Gaetz accomplished was holding McCarthy responsible for failures of leadership. And the people who want to sit comfortably in Congress without actually having to do anything don't like that.
Yeah, and notably, I mentioned this in another segment, but Ro Khanna floated a whole list of items, of issue items that he thought that Matt Gaetz and he could come together and agree on. And this is, again, I think it's really important that progressives need to realize that this is a moment where potentially they should leave their caucus and be willing to cross the aisle in exchange for something material, in exchange for something that, again, the establishment Democrats also don't want. And so he laid out this 5-point plan that Gaetz has tweeted he's amenable to negotiating around. That includes, remember those boos? That includes banning money from lobbyists and political action committees to congressional candidates. No wonder they're booing. Banning members of Congress from trading stocks and from ever becoming lobbyists. Remember the story we covered yesterday about how war profiteering is off to the races and how many Congress members have bought stocks in the lead up to this conflict in both Ukraine and in the conflict in Israel-Palestine. Term limits for Congress members, term limits for Supreme Court justices, and an ethics codes for Supreme Court justices. The Supreme Court ethics issue is, of course, another payola issue that nobody wants, that the Americans don't want to happen. Yeah. So these, again, if he continues to stand behind broadly popular agenda items, then the malign men and women in Congress can sit there and boo and hiss all they want. But it's bringing to mind that famous saying from FDR, I welcome their hatred. You know me by the enemies that are aligning against me.
I'll quote an even better quote from Rick and Morty. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. More Rising right after this.